What is up, everybody? What's going on, Paul? How we doing?
Going well, brother. Going well. How are you doing? Where you at, Nick?
I'm doing quite well. It is mid-morning here in Denver. Sun is shining. It's a good day. Where are you at, Paul?
Good morning, brother. It's midnight here in Bangkok. It was a good day. Excited to wrap it here with, one of the best communities in Web3, right? The Neo Tokyo boys. So excited to jump in. I've told the Carv official account to hop in the space too. If they don't join soon, I could just switch accounts and speak from there.
Yeah, no sweat. Just stoked you've still got juice at midnight in Bangkok. Really appreciate you staying up late to educate the community on all that's going on in Carv. We're gonna pull Ben up. Oh, here, speak of the devil. What's going on, Ben?
GM Legends, excited to see you again, Paul, and always an absolute pleasure, Nick. Glad we get
Yeah, good
to
to see you
pop
too.
open this Carv Neo Tokyo AMA. Let's get it.
Let's do it.
Hell yeah. Let's give a minute or two for the audience to come on in and for the Carve account to join. And Paul, just let us know if you've got a switch and we'll get the ball rolling. But big shout out to the audience for getting here nice and early. And we will be bringing you a ton of good info here in just a minute.
Yeah, absolutely.
Excellent.
Nope, they came. Let's go. We'll be good.
Hell yeah.
Sweet.
We'll bring them on up.
To quote a friend of mine, today is a great day to have a great day, especially when we have a wonderful AMA on the books. Let's get it, guys.
Hell yeah. If the Carve account can request, that'll be the quickest way for us to bring them up.
Yeah, let me tell him right now. I just typed to her to come on up.
Sounds good. We'll just wait on that and then we'll get this ball rolling.
Yeah, let me. I'm gonna send the AMA to our community as well. Get some more people in here for Neo Tokyo. Let's see what we got.
Hell yeah, blast it out. And
Yep.
to everybody
My
in
bad
the
on that.
audience. Oh, no sweat. And to everybody in the audience, we're going to be fielding questions from the comment section. So if you've already got some on the tip of your tongue, feel free to drop them down there. Don't be afraid to hit that retweet button while you're down there. And we'll make sure to get those questions brought up so that you can get them answered.
Just keep in mind, if it's a silly question, you will owe 25 push-ups.
I like that. That's very chatty. Good Chad.
Oh, Ben has been spreading push-ups far and wide across these AMA spaces. 25, that's a meaty penalty. So keep those silly questions to yourself unless you want godlike pecs.
That's right. Either we're going to get our brains yoked or our bodies yoked, and we win either way.
Let's go.
And if the Carv account can hear me, I just invited you to speak just in case that request isn't working. Gotta love Twitter Spaces. There's always some little bugs in there.
All right, while we're figuring that out, let's go ahead and get started. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Carv and Neo Tokyo AMA. We are very excited to have Paul up here as well as the Carv main account. Alongside of myself is the man, myth, the legend, Mr. Crypto Atheist, Mr. Nick. And then, of course, we have the Neo Tokyo account up here guiding us through this journey. So, just to lay a little bit of a foundation, Paul, would love to get a bit of background on yourself as well as the Carv team and just the project in general.
Yeah, great start. Thanks to the Neo Tokyo team, Ben for organizing a bunch, making a bunch of intros these past few weeks too to help out the sale, and then also Nick for co-hosting this with us. Massive thanks to you guys. Myself, I'm the Chief Business Officer at Carv. Joined the team 14 months ago to lead all things business. Have been professionally working in Web3 now for 3+ years, but have been kind of exposed to the industry now for over 5, just casually investing, etc. The rest of the team is made up from some gaming some big gaming companies in Web 2 like EA, Garena Games. Oh my God, I'm blanking. Who owns Riot? Tencent, right? TikTok, Coinbase, Contentos, and then some consulting as well. So really, really strong background of founders who have brought games to market, who have brought tickers onto, or who have gotten projects on centralized exchanges before, I should say. So I'm really bullish on who's building with me and the team we have. I think we have one of the best teams to get the job done, and I love going into the office every day, working alongside these guys. Really push me to keep growing and delivering. A little bit more on the project and what we're building. So we kicked off in 2022. Our mission statement is really around data sovereignty and monetization opportunities for our users. And we've got 3 main products right now with several different features and tools, but the biggest one is Carv Play. This is what everyone knows. It's a discovery site that is home to over 2.5 million registered users who are building out their gamer identity. And then on the flip side, 300 plus Web3 titles are actively using our game or our site to market their games, but also effectively target users. And in between that B2B and B2C kind of dynamic, there is a monetization opportunity and utility provided for our users and their data. Happy to jump into it, guys. Really excited to be here.
Yeah, perhaps you can, again, even more deeply lay the foundation of exactly what it is, all the different models and modules that go into it, and then I know
Yeah.
you kind of briefly touched on the play side, but just let's dive into all of them. And we have a
Okay.
full hour, and we
Yeah.
have time for long form, so let's get it.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's dive into the other two. I guess we'll start with our newer product called Kara. This is an AI agent. We're actively working with some of the top AI projects right now in Web3. We just spoke with Fetch AI the other day, for example, and are building out a partnership and relationship there, but using their tool set to build Kara even further. Right now, she just sits in a Telegram chat and she kind of operates as a customer service bot. But in the future, Kara is going to be there for enhanced game discovery and enhanced user discovery. I feel like I should actually take a step back and talk a little bit more about the Carv protocol first, and then we'll get back to Kara. But Carv protocol, right? So what you're doing here is, and this would be better with a visual, but we'll start with our campaign called Data to Earn Soul Drop. This is a campaign where over 500,000 unique active wallets are participating in our Data to Earn Soul Drop campaign. You're getting rewarded for the volume of data that you bring to Carv. So first and foremost, when people come to Carv, you're able to bind several different accounts to one identity. The identity here being your Carv ID. This is actually powered by ERC 7231, which is a standard that Carv put forth to the ETH Foundation that they approved. So, for example, I'll come to Carv for the first time. I'll bind several different wallets, from Ronin, from MetaMask, from Phantom, to some others. And then also my Web2 socials. So, like my Discord, my Twitter, my Gmail, and my Facebook. Then also my Steam account. And then my Carv Play account as well. So you can bind all of those on Carv Protocol. This account aggregation, what you're going to be given is actually a score for each credential based on the volume of data in that credential. So like imagine for MetaMask, you see a plus 10 to 100 range, and you bring a wallet that has a lot of transactions made, a lot of tokens and NFTs held, where you're going to get a higher score than a user who doesn't have that history. If you bring a Steam account over that has a lot of achievements, a lot of hours played, a lot of games in the library, same thing, a higher score there as well. If your Carv account has a lot of Soulbound badges collected and a lot of events participated in, you're going to get a higher score there as well. You aggregate all this together and you get a mining speed. Like mine's like 254, I think. And that's the amount of points I can mine a day across 4 different chains. So again, I mentioned 500,000 unique active wallets a day. That's spread across Linea and ZK Sync, where we're respectively number 1 in both ecosystems, top 5 on OPBNB, and then number 2 on Ronin right behind Pixels. So again, 500,000 unique active wallets. At our peak, we've had 900,000 unique active wallets participate in this campaign. They all bought what we call a dot play name service. This is a redirection to the gamer profile or the Carv ID I mentioned earlier. these sales were in large part a reason why we've been generating 1 million in monthly recurring revenue over Q1. So we're net revenue positive as well. Gonna go into a little bit on the monetization side here for the user. When you're binding these different credentials on Carv, what you're really doing is opting into a passive revenue stream for life, right? So we know everything about you. You've consented to share everything about you in a privacy preserving way. Again, we'll get into that as we go on. But once we know everything about you, we can then help you monetize this data. So let's say Shrapnel, who I believe is a Neo Tokyo, like a big Neo Tokyo game, right? I think a lot of people in Neo Tokyo are in Shrapnel or something like this, whatever. Shrapnel can come to Carv and say, hey, we need users from Thailand. We need them to be whales on AVAX, right? We need them holding the Shrap token. But most importantly, we need them playing hundreds of hours of FPS. Okay. Well, Carv can effectively deliver on those cohorts because, again, 2.5 million registered users all time. Many of them have aggregated several different credentials on Carv, the ones we've gone over. We know a lot about them. They trust us. We can get these users into Shrapnel's hands and then activate them, right? We can run a campaign on our discovery site like, go play Shrapnel, win a match, or extract with this much Sigma, or, kill 5 people in a match, whatever it may be. We can use the Carv discovery site and our APIs to basically get users into Shrapnel. So we can identify them, we can activate them, we can retain them. But again, getting into the monetization, if you're a user from Thailand who plays hundreds of hours of FPS, who holds the Shrapnel token, who is a whale on AVAX, right? That criteria that Shrapnel said, you would actually get a percentage of the fee that Shrapnel paid Carv to conduct that user acquisition. So again, you're opting into this revenue stream on Carv. It's a revenue stream we project will grow and grow as more games come to Carv to use our UA services, which is solving a massive problem in Web3 gaming right now, user acquisition. But again, we're building the largest modular data layer for gaming, AI, and anything. We could do several different verticals. We could be working in ad tech or e-commerce. Carv has some of the most ethically sourced data and the largest quantity of it. So these kind of industries really need, what we can provide on the behavioral side, right? So the passive revenue stream for the users is going to just grow and grow as Carv grows, and I'm very, very bullish on what we're building at Carv. Happy to pause here for any follow-up questions before going a little bit further into some stuff.
Yeah, super fired up by the concept. I was originally like an Xbox Live gamer to get started out, and just used to spend so much time grinding achievements. And
Yeah,
it's a really cool idea to have that all be integrated into a profile that can then be rewarded and targeted.
dude, check this out too, Nick. So you bring up Xbox. It is a credential you can bring to Carv. We support that. There's a feature that we support for Steam credentials that will come to Xbox later, but I want to talk quickly about generative archive tokens. So you just mentioned, I used to grind Xbox Live. I have all these achievements. Me too, bro. Me too. But imagine now minting those achievements on chain. So these are what generative archive tokens are. They're Web2 achievements on chain. They're soulbound and non-transferable. For me, I play a ton of Skyrim, right? That's one of my favorite games of all time. I've got maybe like, I don't know, let's just do 70 out of 100 achievements in the game. I could go mint a generative archive token. And what I see here is like a really cool, when I go to mint it, kind of animation of the player progression. My first achievement will be the first star, and then it will kind of like butterfly effect out from there. And it's just a really cool way to have like your achievements become almost immutable, right? When they go on chain, like your Xbox account, like that's subject to what Microsoft does with Xbox Live, with your account, etc. Your account can be banned. There's so many different things, right? This is the Web3 versus Web2 argument. Generative archive tokens are a really popular feature, and it allows for more of that uh, behavioral stuff we were talking about. I can go to a user profile and be like, oh shit, like look at all these generative archive tokens for this user across like Witcher 3, Skyrim, Cyberpunk. This guy must really like RPGs. So it's just another really cool feature we have on Carv that's also really popular with Web2 users that are getting onboarded to Carv as well. Really cool to see.
Yeah, that's absolutely awesome. I mean, just the possibilities, just some of the ones that you mentioned, and then just all the possibilities that are sort of fracturing in my brain of just being able to target specific users for specific games, being able to flex with those soulbound tokens when we end up getting sort of digital spaces that we can make our own. Being able to flex that you got all gold guns in Call of Duty. I mean, all that stuff is super, super exciting and sort of a key piece of being able to deliver sort of this metaverse Ready Player One vision that many of us had when we got into the space.
Yeah, well said. So, I mean, we do support BattleNet right now, but we haven't gotten so far to have like the historical achievements from Call of Duty be minted on chain as well. I'm sure the product team's working on that. My priority right now is also like getting Apple iOS and Google Play Store as credentials you can add to Carve. And then personally, too, I really want to see Riot ID on there someday. They have a very strict no Web3 like kind of integration policy, so it's a little hard to kind of achieve that, but I'll be working diligently because I used to play a lot of League of Legends. I'd love to see some cool things with that as well. But yeah, I guess in a nutshell, for users in the space that are just hearing about us for the first time or maybe just joined, Carv is really about taking ownership of your historical data and being able to monetize from it. Right now, like the issue at hand is like Facebook, for example, can take our data, sell it to whoever we want. No ROI for our users, for ourselves, like never. But with Carv, we envision a future where we almost act as an exchange layer between you guys and between big games and companies looking to access data, leveling the playing field. We care just as much about you as we do, working with them. I think is the message I want people to remember from this space.
And thinking about how you guys are going to interface with the, let's call them the incumbents in the space. When we're talking about the monster gaming companies. What are the levers that you found are effective at getting onto their radar, building partnerships with them, getting access to, whatever departments that you need? Like we're talking about large, mass scale B2B enterprise sales. So
Yeah.
how are you guys approaching that?
Yeah, great question. So one thing I want to get say already, we've already worked with like EA on go to market strategy for one of their mobile games. So like these relationships are there, these conversations are taking place, but they're much longer sales cycles because all these big Web2 gaming giants don't want to risk their IP, right? They have no reason to do it yet so far, but they're all looking, especially in like Korea and even in Japan, they're all looking and exploring it. But Ben brings up a good question, like what's our sales pitch to these guys? It really doesn't change. Behavioral insights into users is really important across Web 2 and Web 3. Like we can be just as valuable to, um, you know, Sega as we are to Shrapnel. For example, seeing how a user spends, seeing how they play games, seeing what they're doing outside of the games, how they're spending their time. Like these are all things we can, kind of extrapolate on Carve. That's super valuable to those gaming giants as well. I just think right now where we're at, like they're not ready to commit, right? But again, we've already kind of started working on these with like EA, as I mentioned. So like we're thinking about it. We're actively building out that side of our B2B Rolodex as well. Great question.
And where do you go from here? Like you guys are, it seems like you're acquiring more users, you're helping users
Yeah.
protect their data, you're going for, you're going for some really interesting slices of the pie, and in fact, creating seems like you're more so creating a new type of pie rather than trying to compete with other people. You're working with Web 2 giants. I would imagine you guys are also working with the up and coming Web 3 giants, who I would I would presume, and I think everybody here would also presume that in 10 years the Web 3 giants will have become bigger than the Web 2 giants, or maybe in partnership in some way, shape, or form. Would also love to get
Yeah.
your
We're all
side
hoping.
quest opinion on that. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so like, what does that
Yeah.
all look like? How does that scale? How does it move forward?
Okay, you asked a couple different things. I'm going to start with the timeline one really quickly, and then on the Web3 giant side, like there's going to be some alpha this week. We're making an announcement about someone who just came into our node opportunity, and I think there's just so many synergies with this that yeah, I'm excited to talk about it transparently when we do the announcement. But yeah, Web3 giant on the way. Timeline wise, so guys, we just raised our Series A about 2 months ago. We did 10 mil from Tribe Capital and IOSG with participation from Marble X, the Web3 gaming arm of Netmarble, with Consensus, the team behind Linea and MetaMask. OKX Ventures was in that round as well, and a couple other really great funds that I'm blanking on right now. But our total funding is just about almost 20 mil. And like, there's some other great names in there I didn't even name, like Hashkey, Alibaba Cloud, Temasek Vertex, Infinity Ventures Crypto. So like we've got some really, really good backers. And so we just did that. We have a node sale that's ongoing. We just sold out on Seedify over the weekend, which I thought was really, really bullish. They did over 2 mil. And so that was kind of a lot. And we've got a lot of momentum into this node sale. After the node sale, obviously there's one thing we've yet to do, which is TGE. Happy to devote some time tonight to talk, or today, talking about TGE and what the plans are there, what that's looking like. I know that's always, questions from the community. Ben, you asked me a question about the future. I think everything we're doing around the nodes and this whole data process and protecting user data, 500,000 transaction or wallets a day, we're going to spin up our own L2, I believe, is some alpha for the Neo Tokyo community. That's what it's looking like. We're either going to use a solution like hyperchains or like subnets, whatever it may be, or just do it ourselves. But we really feel like what we're building is going to require our own chain at some point. So that's something we're looking at. I can't put a timeline on that, but that could either happen like really quickly or like in 1 to 2 years. But that's a little bit on the future of Carv. I guess also more investments into the gaming vertical, more partnerships on the AI side. Like I said, we just talked to Fetch AI. Data or AI is nothing without data. We have some of the best data. We can train computational models moving forward. There's a bunch of different avenues Carv can go, and that's why I'm really, really bullish on Carv and our future TGE as well. There's a whole narrative right now, guys, about like high FDV, low flow tokens, right? Really interesting narrative. I think there's a lot of good conversations happening around this. I think we're really, really well positioned to have a really successful token launch because we're infra, and there's just so many. Like I just said, there's so many different ways we can take it that we're not really confined. Like I don't think I think a lot of games right now are launching their tokens for market attention. I don't think these games are going to last long term because their products just aren't where they need to be, right? So what I'm getting at here, Ben, you asked about the future. I'm just really bullish. All things said, all things considered.
Oh, I love it. Excuse the helicopter in the background, but would love to dive into the nodes. We've seen a ton of different models around the node sales, different ways that they sort of work into the ecosystem. So would love to get some more details about how the node ecosystem works within Carv.
Yeah, let's start with how our node ecosystem. I believe actually we have one of the strongest node narratives across the very saturated node market right now. I think Zai and then Aether really set the kind of meta, and kudos to them. They had very successful sales. All things considered, again, I think we have one of the strongest narratives. So let me get into it. Everything, and again, guys, sorry, this would do a lot better with a visual, but we're gonna just bear with me here. Everything we've talked about tonight is our application layer and our identity layer, right? So our application layer sits at the top of our protocol. This includes Carv Play, the discovery site with 2.5 million registered users. It includes Kara, our AI agent, and it also includes Carv Protocol, right? The kind of campaign I was talking about called Data to Earn. Those three products all sit at the top of the application layer, but there's also third-party applications that could sit here as well and use Carv as a data layer. And additionally, underneath that, like it starts really the end-to-end data process. So you see our identity layer. This was earlier when I was talking about ERC 7231, that standard we put forth. The Carv ID aggregates identity all in one place. This is also very synergetic with other DID projects as well. Earlier, I mentioned about some Web3 gaming giant we're going to be teaming up with, PR soon. I think there's so much synergy there with what we do and with something they do. More on that later, but like you can see other DIDs integrated to Carv ID, expanding just the amount of data that users bring to their Carv account. So really, really bullish on what we've done with the identity layer. But once users have all of their identity in one place, they're going to need somewhere to store it. And this is where a little bit of our modular design comes in. And I also think it's really in line with Web3's thesis of like personal choice and decision making. We have different areas you can store your data. Greenfield, IPFS, Carv's database is a fourth product we're developing out as well. And then lastly, like we've even talked to EigenLayer about using like our own AVS, for example. So in the storage layer, users will have many, many different options. And decisions and choices they could do when it comes to storing their data with Carv. So again, getting into our next layer, computation and training. What we talked about earlier about that user acquisition stuff, like, okay, a user is from Thailand, that's a whale, whatever. All that's great. it's not great unless we protect their privacy as well. So we use things like trusted execution environments and ZK proofs to make up the computation and training layer to prove users are XYZ while protecting that anonymity. So again, this is the fourth layer of Carv right now. So we're going through our whole protocol. Next is the execution layer, right? So this is where we post all that all that kind of proofs and not transactions, but I'm trying to think of the word, but basically we post all this on different L2 partners, right? So it's transparent on chain. And lastly is where the nodes come in. So the nodes are basically sitting at the bottom of the protocol to verify everything I just said took place in a privacy preserving way. So it's basically like checking everything, did XYZ on the Carv protocol. And we want these to get into as many hands as possible to help further decentralize our network. So we're selling 100,000 of these. It wouldn't mean much if like two parties had 100,000 nodes, right? It's not decentralized at all. That's the complete opposite of what we want to happen. Selling 100,000 of them. We're about 20 mil into the whitelist allocation right now. Again, just mentioned we sold out on Cetify, but then also Swissborg, a partner of ours, did 1.5 million in sales as well. I think the total they took on was 1.7, so they're going to do another round. But super, super bullish numbers amid the market uncertainty. I think it's a testament to everything we've built so far, the traction we have, where we could take it. Yeah, there's one more thing about the nodes. Okay, yeah, also the rewards of the nodes. Everyone needs to know the rewards. So 25% of the Carv token is allocated to the verifier node runners. We adopted an emissions model that has about 50% of said token emitting in the first year, with claim periods at 15, 90, and 150 days as well. You can kind of benchmark this at Zai's claim period of 15, 90, and 100 days as well, seeing that our claim period is actually a month in advance right there. So that's a little bit on the node sale. I could go into a little bit more, but I feel like it would be better served with a visual as well. But happy to answer any questions on what I just said.
I think you gave a really good overview on, a lot of the aspects that people are interested in. You tapped on rewards, which of course is where many people's mind goes when we're talking
When we're
nodes.
talking
The other,
potential investments, right? It's important to let users know. And then one more thing I forgot to mention, Nick. A big question, especially with people that don't know much about nodes, is like, okay, I buy this thing. What do I do with it after? You're going to need to run these nodes, but our nodes are very lightweight in comparison to maybe some heavier ones on the market. You just download a software. In our white paper, you can see the specs needed. I'm going to quickly pull it up so you guys can know. 1 second. I'm blind. Where is this? It's usually supposed to say running a verifier node. I don't know why I'm blind. Here it is. Okay, nice. So the minimum requirements we recommend is a CPU with 1 core, 2 GB of RAM, and 4 MB download speed. Everyone should have this, guys. You don't need to upgrade your rig or whatever to run a Carv node, but we recommend a fast CPU with 2 cores, 4 GB of RAM, and 8 MB a second of download speed. If you don't want to run the node, you can even delegate it. We have a tutorial right now of a video showing how you can delegate these nodes. So really, there's no reason why I don't know what a node is, I don't want to run it, should stop you from, hopping into the Carv ecosystem and helping us decentralize our network. Yeah, that's just the one thing I wanted to add right there.
no, that was perfect, Paul. You took the question right out of my brain.
Good.
Ben, see you unmuted. You got a question, my friend?
Yeah, just wanted to encourage the lovely folks in the audience here to drop some questions and put it in. Either drop some questions in the chat or otherwise communicate with us when you have some questions. So I just wanted to drop that PSA out there.
Yeah,
Um,
nice. Ben, really quickly, I saw a comment from Laszlo. They're still here in the space. They mentioned we should use ZK Sync. Laszlo, you may have joined a little late, but we actually are the #1 application on ZK Sync right now. We have a great relationship with their team, even talking to them actively about support around our node sales. So yeah, I got nothing but love for ZK Sync as well.
Excellent. So thinking about how you guys are interacting with I want to jump back for a second. Thinking
Yeah,
about how you guys
absolutely.
are interacting with the Web 2 bigger games. Um, Talk me through how a new game that's kind of up and coming, or a new entrepreneur, builder, or new project, whatnot. Um, how do they engage with you guys? What
Yeah.
does that kind of pathway look like?
Great. That's a great question. So either I'll seek you out, being B2B, or geez, BD, or you'll be like inbound. We've gotten a lot, as we've grown so much, a lot more games coming to us asking for our services, which I think is great. We also work with this team called Surgeons, who's like a marketing agency. You guys may know them. They've been bringing us some deal flow too. Like these deals are just coming to us now. So I'll take you through what a game flow looks like. We'll have like a discovery call. Myself and the corresponding business dev or like the founder, whatever it may be, understand really where they're at in development. If they're pre-alpha, pre-beta, or they're launched and live, whatever their needs are, get a full understanding of that, and then I'll better be able to tailor, what's available for them on Carv. But we'll do that discovery call. Usually, the next step is for them to list on our discovery site. So, like, hop on that site, Carv Play, with over 2.5 million registered users. You'll see them there. It's a really good way to get discovered organically, just hopping on there. But then we'll do some activations together. We've got our community lead in here, Mr. Snow. We have some really great game nights in Carv that over 300 people attend on average. They'll play the game, they'll watch the game, they'll talk to the founder of the game. It's great to get exposure there. You can run a social campaign on Carv. This will get you some, vanity metrics. It'll get your announcements out, whatever. But the biggest thing that I'm bullish on besides the user acquisition is actually like in-game campaigns. So right now we have a campaign called Infinite Play, where there's about 11 games participating in season 2. It ranges from like King of Destiny, the Infinity Gods team, Neon Heroes, Mixed Mob, Wilder World, a couple other great ones, Love Monster that I'm blanking on. But we're in 2 seasons right now. And what we're doing is allowing those 500,000 unique active wallets to still farm Soul, which is basically like farming Carv. These are convertible post TGE. You can still farm Soul, but now you're farming Soul when you play Infinity Gods, when you do Infinity Gods on-chain tasks, and then also when you do Infinity Gods social tasks. So I'm super, super bullish on games that integrate our API and allow our users to go play the game and verify certain tasks. So like right now, we've driven over 10,000 users to King of Destiny. Like these are playing users. I just saw the data every day, or the daily data. We've driven over 2,600 players who have done like 1 million coins in King of Destiny, which is like several hours of playtime. And it's just great to see, like, we're all like, where are the users in Web3? Well, a lot of them are on Carv, and we can bring them to your game. So like on the B2B side, like it's going really, really well. We're working with some of the best. I got nothing but love for Brian and the Infinity Gods team. They just announced their token God. So we're looking to work with them long term on stuff. But ultimately, the goal is to work with games on user acquisition, right? If it's Infinity Gods, they're looking for mobile users. They're looking for the hyper casuals. They're looking for users probably in Southeast Asia, given Web3, and how bullish it is there. So that's what we do. That's kind of the flow there.
And thinking about user acquisition, what's actually working? Because one of the most difficult parts of go to market I'm seeing right now is actually getting users. I mean, if you have a good project, fundraising should not be tremendously difficult. There's plenty of capital to find its way to excellent projects. But
Yeah.
then once you have the capital, you obviously need a strong team. You need to have a good product, all that. From there, acquiring users is basically the last part of that puzzle.
Mm.
So if that's kind of you guys' bread and butter there, like what is actually working? What's the meta right now, and what's the short term in the short term, and then what's the long term meta of like this is the how we think about it and the principles behind it that never change.
Yeah. Are you talking about UA to like bring new users to Carv's platform, or like what we're doing on the UA side with games?
Both, because we can
Okay.
take principles from that. I'm thinking of for the builders in the audience who are like, man,
Sure.
I have the greatest product known to man, but I don't really know how to do marketing or get users. So hearing on both sides of that coin would be, I think, very useful. Again, interested in the short term, what's the meta right now? And then in the long term, what are the principles of UA that you guys have found have been incredibly powerful to help you grow and scale over time throughout the short term metas?
Okay, let's start on the Carve side because I think that will affect how I describe how we're bringing users to games. So a little bit of history, like I believe, like most of our users initially came from like working with top, Web3 games back in like the kind of super play to earn era, and getting stickiness as they came to our site. Like that's how we kind of built community. We've also done some traditional user acquisition and like targeted ads across Web2, right? So just a little bit of history there. I think right now what we're doing really, really well is curating great partners and doing great activations for our users to enjoy so they stay around on Carve. But also like being in the trenches is super important. Like I feel like user acquisition and community building almost go hand in hand because okay, we get these users on Carve, but like um, they could dip. So I feel like our community lead Jay and the rest of the team and myself do a really good job of connecting with the people in our community who are asking questions about the game events we've got going on, who are asking questions about Carve. These guys feel like they have a stake in the direction Carve goes, especially our guardians, which is like a subset of the community that is actively contributing to our ecosystem, curating the Discord, answering tickets, bringing in projects like that's super helpful too. Everyone on Carv feels like they're actively dictating where we could go in the future. So once we have them on Carv and kind of build there, I think in the short term and what will work long term is really effective UA. And by effective is what I mean earlier when I was talking about, um, you know, finding users based on genre specific needs, finding users based on demographic needs, finding users based on like how they hold assets and how they spend. Like these type of like insights driven UA is what really will work moving forward, and it's what Carve is doing to push the space forward. No more like shooting blind. Like I'm just gonna pay a bunch of money to do UA somewhere. Let's make it calculated. Let's do it specifically. That's what we're doing in the short term, and I believe that will also work long term as well. That sort of answer your question, Ben? Nice. Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah, I've got a little bit of an off-topic question
Let's
for
go.
you, Paul. I find that although we have this like beautiful international crypto community, it is segregated by time zone. And so
Yeah.
by the fact that me and Ben are in the West, we talk to mostly Western projects because those are the ones that are awake during our Discord. So I'd love to just do a little vibe check.
Oh
What's
yeah.
the crypto vibes? What's the crypto gaming AI vibes like in Thailand? I
Yeah.
assume you're out there on a semi-permanent basis, so would love to get your insight.
Yeah, I guess I can do a little bit more of a background on me. So I moved out to Asia about a year ago. Did 10 months in Shanghai, and now I'm on 2 months in in Bangkok, and we'll be here a little bit longer. But I've traveled all over Japan, Korea, Singapore. Our team was just in the Philippines over the weekend. I was in the Philippines in November as well. The sentiment here is bullish. We actually have users and people who play these games. I remember I was at the YGG Manila event in November. And YGG and Carv are very close. Gabby actually is one of our angel investors, the CEO at YGG. Very, very close. And I remember being at Jiho's speech, Jiho, founder of Axie, good friend. And YGG brought like an entire like middle school community to Jiho's speech because they all grew up playing Axie in 2021. Like they're the when we talk about people who are playing these games, it's the people in Southeast Asia. That's the vibe. And it's actually interesting because I saw someone tweet this the other day and it really clicked, but like you can actually afford to live just by playing Web3 games out in Southeast Asia. Like that's how low the cost of living is. So like that's where the users are. So on the gaming side, like super bullish. On the AI side, I don't know too many AI projects out here, but like Web3 wise and Web3 gaming especially, like Southeast Asia is like the alpha. A lot of people here, super bullish, super friendly. But then also like why I'm so bullish is like I mentioned earlier, like Infinity Gods, I love their game, mobile game. I think the first Web3 gaming hit personally is just going to be a mobile title because I remember living in Shanghai and then also here, like everyone, well, especially Shanghai, everyone was just heads down in their phone playing like a mobile game on the metro or like at a meal or whatever. It's like super quick and easy to do. Nobody has time. A lot of people don't have time to grind an MMORPG or an RPG. So I think it's going to be some like really cool mobile title. And I think maybe Infinity Gods is the one to do it. And I'm super stoked that Carv is like really, really helping them out and are really, really close with them as well. So that's my 2 cents, bro. Southeast Asia is definitely bullish on Web3.
I absolutely love to hear it. And, I tend to agree on the mobile gaming side, both for, what you mentioned that, the economics work a little bit better in places that have like a lower,
Cost
cost
of
of
living,
living.
yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Plus, you just look at, between Starlink adding like greater sort of like connectivity And the fact that like everybody has almost everybody has a phone. Not everyone has like a console and such. I mean, I'm very
Really good
bullish
point.
about
Really good point.
a- Africa coming online. I think they're going to be really, really strong over the next, 1 or 2 decades and
They're
really move
actually
into the gaming landscape.
they're leading in like P2P payments too. Like in Africa, a lot of people just like because the currencies are so inflationary, people are using Bitcoin there. It's actually really interesting to see.
Yeah, and on top of that, I've got a good chunk of friends down in Zambia, and they're so used to having their finances attached to their phone, and even
Whoa.
like greater attached to their SIM card. So, a lot of people who don't have phones for periods where they, either lose it or it's stolen, they'll hold on to their, I guess not if they lose it or it's stolen, but they'll hold on to their SIM cards, and that'll be what actually is linked to their ability to access like bank accounts and such. So it's just a much more like Web3 potentially sort of like friendly ecosystem, especially if you just have to
Absolutely.
remember your seed phase.
And I mean, I'm from America, guys. Just to mention, I think Ben knew that, but like back home, like the regulation is so like anti crypto, anti Web3. Like it's very hard for things to get moving over there. So I think that's a big barrier too for the West, and that's why I think the East will lead um, as well.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, you see the Japanese government, the South Korean government, a lot of, Malays, Thailand. Like, there's just so much like government clarity as opposed to the United States, where you can hire a team of lawyers and they're going to be like, hey, listen, this is gray. We don't really know. You might get targeted, you might not. I mean, that's just
Yeah,
such a scary place to set up any sort of, risky venture.
we got to get you and Ben out here, bro. Carv team will sponsor it. Come on out, co-build, check out the project firsthand.
Bro, you are not going to have to twist my arm
We're
on
there.
that. I'm already sort of
Twist
jonesing
my
for
arm. I love it.
Singapore for the big event.
We're
Yes.
there. We
Are
can
you
do
guys going to
IRL stuff.
consensus?
We can do IRL stuff too.
Absolutely. Are you guys going to consensus? I've been the past 2 years. Is that a big one this year?
In Austin, the
Yeah, that
Austin
one. That one.
consensus or one of the
That one. Yeah.
dude, I'm so tempted. Not only, honestly, even more than the traditional crypto event, they've got a karate combat fight and the influencer
Whoa,
fight night going on in Austin that weekend. I
that's
don't know if I'm
sick.
going to be able to swing it, but it's freaking tempting for sure.
That's sick. I was at Dubai a few weeks back. I think it was Karate Combat, right? Whatever Ansem fought in, I missed it, but
Yep.
I did end up meeting Ansem. Short aside, and then we can get back to the topic at hand. I met Ansem at like 4 a.m. clubbing, and I shilled him this one meme coin I'm in. That was really funny. He was a good guy, but that was really just kind of random. After he got his ass kicked.
Oh my God, I love it. You got to shoot your shot, right? When you got the opportunity.
Bro, I mean, I got a large. Sanjay's in here. Sanjay knows I got a nice bag of the Giga Chad meme coins. So I mean, one Ansem tweet, and I'm looking like really, really golden. So I had to shoot my shot.
Dude, I think that brings up an interesting topic just of how much like our space is sort of directed by kingmakers. I
It's
mean,
crazy,
Ansem, obviously Becker, Elliot,
dude. I was just gonna bring up
Johnny.
Becker. And Johnny's Hustlepedia, right? We're working with him on the node sale too. Big fan of Hustle. If that was Johnny, but like Becker, uh, you could see on the charts too. Like there was a token he backed. I mean, it happens with all of them. He tweeted it out, or he mentioned it in his video, right? And like you could see the pump. Like it's crazy the Kingmaker thing as well. But yeah, massive love to Becker. I know he's in the community here. Um, Great stuff. Great guy. From what I know. Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess that leads to, or sorry, Ben, hop on in.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Come on in.
Well, I was just going to say, with that sort of in mind of just like how important these kingmakers are, how does that sort of influence Carv's like go to market strategy? How do you guys like sort of think about sort of
Ben
courting
already
these
knows
big
I asked for
influencers?
the Ben already knows I asked for the Becker intro. So I mean, I guess that kind of answers the question. But no, I mean, you bring up a good point, Nick. Like, you want these guys on your side, I think for sure. But also, like, okay, so there was an adjacent KOL round that took place is taking place, I should say, uh, with this node sale as well. And I had to say no to a lot of my friends because like a lot of people came into the KOL round that should be there more so than some of my friends, right? Like that are also KOLs, but you need these kingmakers. You need these people on your side. Like for example, I was looking at our list the other day. There's guys like Artazor on there. Um, yeah, I think I could say all these names. Ash Crypto, other really big names came into our round, and we had to be strategic with who we took on because, with the KOL round one, there's gonna be a lot of sell pressure, right? This is just typically how it goes with KOLs. But also, we need to make sure that the people we are letting into this round are gonna help us achieve, gain while they're in it for short term, hopefully long term, right? I think I've done a good enough job talking to these people that I think they're on board long term. I know Sanjay's dumping right away. He's in the round. But you want these kingmakers on your side. Absolutely. I think Web3, not just Web3, I think it's an attention span economy. Nobody wants to do their own research, even though that's super important. What they'd rather do is find these kingmakers that they really trust and really dig their vibe and just tail their plays. That's how people invest in Web3. And so you want the guys who call the right plays on your side. And I think we've done a really, really good job at that. So great question, you guys. I think definitely want to be working with these guys long term in some capacity. It does really well for your project.
So just kind of scoping out a bit right now, we're
Yeah.
seeing some interesting things in the markets. It feels like everything is on hyper speed, or set
Yeah.
set to 2x mode right now of playback speed. A couple of months ago, everything was turbo bullish. People literally could not, be bull posting more. Um, Capital was flowing freely. Things were happening, very easily. It felt like there was very little friction. We kind of hit a bit of a downturn. People kind of went a little bit bullish. It came up a little bit more. People were kind of wary. Hit a bit of a dump, and people got super bearish. And like everybody's a little bit scared and not really deploying a ton of capital. And it just feels like the markets are kind of waiting with bated breath. It seems like now we have a bit of a pump. So I think people are getting very hopeful again, but still a bit skeptical. Um, in
Go
in your
ahead.
in your opinion, like where are where are we in the cycle of, and I don't care as much about prices because obviously, fool's errand to try to predict that, but from the perspective of building and just like general sentiment of how people are feeling around the space and how that impacts the building and the things that are going on and kind of what you guys are doing, like maybe just kind of scope out a bit and just talk a bit generally about what's going on.
Yeah, what I'm seeing. Quick shout out to Yellow Panther who just joined. It was funny because we have a Sanjay and him and I have a chat. And I was like, I'm shouting out Sanjay. He goes, "What about me?" And I was like, "Bro, come on in, support the space."
Big
I'll
shout
give him
out
a
to
shout out.
big shout out to YP and
Yeah.
Sanjay. Love you guys.
No, I love those guys. They make my job a lot easier. They help me out with a ton. So massive love to those two. Ben, you asked a good question. I guess on my perspective. I mean, my biased answer is like I'd really like to see this short term pump we just saw like continue, especially as we're selling our node sale. Right? We definitely want there to be some liquidity. We definitely want people to feel confident in investing. But I think I'm a little bit more hesitant to say like we're out of the choppy waters. I think there's a lot more choppiness that may be happening here in the next few weeks. You mentioned about building. One reason why I'm super bullish on us is like we built through the bear. So we raised that round before the bear and then built all throughout the bear. We've seen it. We've seen the no users. We still built through it. We just heads down did it. We've seen the FUD, whatever. So like we're used to this. That's why we're not freaking out too much about the market now and are pretty confident in our sale. As mentioned, like the Cetify one kind of did numbers, so like we think we're in a good position to really close out this node sale. But I think the narrative right now is like meme super cycle. Like we wonder, like there's a lot of tokens that are bleeding right now from like decent projects, but then everyone's like investing in memes. It's like really weird. I guess it's not weird. I guess it just makes sense. But I think that trend will continue. I think. Uh, I'm all in for the meme super cycle, but I think this next week or two, I don't know if we'll pump. I think there is like I feel like everyone's saying this was the pullback, right? Before the big bull run. Maybe that's true. I think we're still going to be choppy for a bit. But ideally would like to see that clear up so people can feel really confident investing in Carv nodes. really quickly as well, I didn't mention this on the nodes earlier. We actually introduced a buyback program. So this is kind of like a node first, where we really wanted to de-risk the investment for our users. A lot of them, like obviously, like they're Carv loyal, but like we want to make sure they're not just like blindly investing their stuff and have confidence. So what you can do is actually, as long as you participate for 70%, 6 months post TGE, while also never claiming any rewards emitted from the nodes, you can enter into a buyback from Carv, where we'll just buy back the nodes if you're not comfortable with your investment. We are really, really bullish on where we'll be on 6 months, so we anticipate a lot of people won't do that. But the option's there for them, and I think this is a really cool thing we introduced to de-risk it for our users and make it almost a no-brainer to invest in the nodes. Given the kind of market the past few weeks, we thought this was a good idea to add that extra layer of insurance to our sale. So all in all, Ben, I think I want to say the market's turning around, but I'm not too confident it is. Um, Long term, I think there definitely is going to be a bull run, and I think memes will actually kind of be the first kind of ones to run a bit.
Yeah, I think the meme is just super strong, and particularly in the West, where I think this like higher inflationary environment is like bringing out everyone's like super inner degen. Everybody's like, trying to shoot their shot to make it to sort of like generational wealth, and the meme coins just fit so well into that sort of hunger and like narrative.
Dude, yeah, like why would I bet on like some L2 token or whatever that I can only catch like a 5 to 10x when people are making millions of dollars on like Solana's or Solana meme coins like every day? Like it's just I think that's where retail is. That's where like not retail, but like that's where people are making plays.
And I think that ends with just what always happens with sort of like meme coins. They look like this like absolute generational wealth miracle. And if you catch one early, they certainly can be that. But
Yeah.
then, once the space gets oversaturated and people are, I think what were the numbers? Like 20,000 meme coins are made a day, roughly.
Oh, I saw that.
Um,
Yeah. That was crazy.
that eventually, people just get kicked in the teeth super hard and watch wealth evaporate with meme coins when it sort of like retracts. And then that sort of like makes people jaded, and then they cycle back into things with a little bit more of a long-term vision. They're like, okay, well, this might not, 10x overnight, but hopefully it won't go to zero overnight either.
Yeah, absolutely. And I actually want to pivot this back to something we were talking about earlier that I maybe didn't elaborate on that I can now that we're near the end of the space. Carv Zone TGE. So some of our community members are here. They've been with us, like some of them for a year now, some of them for two, like since the beginning. And you know, they want to know when the finish line, where it is, etc. It's really, it's soon. I almost said really, really soon, but it's soon. Again, I was talking about how bullish we are at Carv on our position, and again, I want to reemphasize. I think a lot of these projects, that we're evaluating in this low float, high FTV meta have done less than we have at this point, and we still have yet to launch our token, right? I think we've got the traction. I've said the numbers, et cetera, earlier. The partners behind us. We also, another partner that I can say that we've already done PR on, Aether Cloud is working with Carv really, really heavily on the sale, but also on the cloud gaming side. Like users on our discovery site can anticipate trying out games just on the discovery site without downloading them. That's going to remove a ton of friction. There's a lot of cool partnerships. There's a lot of cool things happening in the community, et cetera. We've done more than teams that have launched their token, and that's why I think when we do get to TGE again soon, uh, I think we could do a really good job. I think we could do numbers without trying to sound like I'm giving financial advice. I'm really bullish on where we're at, and we're talking about memes and everyone investing in memes. I think Carv could do well and be one of those projects that we actually see go up, as opposed to a few that's just been going down. I
Well,
tried not
certainly
I tried
love
not to
the
give a TGE date because then everyone will just run with it. But I
that
guess a
I
little bit
think.
more. Sorry, Nick, I cut you off twice. But like the conversations with centralized exchanges have been going really, really well at Carv. I mean, I told you guys in our Series A we had OKX Ventures in there, but other centralized exchanges as well. Like it's all really, really positive, and we will be a day one sex listing. That's as much as I can say on the topic. It sounds like I didn't say a lot, but honestly, when you read between the lines, I am kind of saying a lot. So, wink, wink. Yeah, super bullish on what we've built.
Hey, we'll definitely appreciate you spilling the alpha here. Big shout out to the audience for joining us. Paul, want to turn it back over to you. Is there anything we didn't get a chance to dive into today that you were hoping to? Any last minute topics? Take the opportunity to grab the mic and take it where you like.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess shout out to the Neo Tokyo community another time. Ben, I've talked to you like for 7 months now, so I appreciate, where we've come, so how far we've come. Appreciate Nick as well on the space. Hold on one second. If there's anything else I want to say, I guess just to come back to what I said at the beginning, if you're a user that that cares about data sovereignty and monetization opportunities, then Carv is the place for you. If you care about, owning your data, like I just said, discovering fun games, interacting with other gamers, Carv is the place for you. And I think the node sale opportunity, one big thing I want to say, like, do not feel obligated to buy a node. Some of our community thought they had to buy a node to participate in Carv in the future. That's not the case. Buy a node if you care about decentralizing our network. Yes, there are rewards, but I'd rather someone want to buy a node to build with us long term than just make some money off Carv. So there's that too. To the Neo Tokyo community that's in here, like, shoot me a DM if there's nothing we didn't answer tonight. I'm pretty accessible. I'm really accessible right now as we approach, some critical periods. And yeah, just big thanks to everybody and all the support so far. Shout out YP, shout out Sanjay, shout out our community for being here as well. Super bullish on everyone a part of Carv.
Absolutely love it. That's a great place for us to wrap. Yeah, big shout out to the whole audience, especially Yellow Panther and Sanjay. Thanks for joining us today. Really appreciate it. Also, super huge shout out to Paul. Thanks for joining so late in Bangkok. I guess it's almost 1 o'clock in the morning. I love that. I need to get your coffee recommendation because you came out swinging for it being so late.
Yeah, I know. My
Ben,
boss, my boss was in here. She's like, "How are you so energetic?" I was like, "I gotta be for the team."
I love it. Put it on. Put the team on your back. Huge shout out. Always a pleasure to be up here with Ben. Just an absolute pleasure to co-host all of these with you. Fractillion behind the Neo Tokyo space could not do it without you. And I'm seeing Bitcoin over 68K. Who knows what's going to happen in the future? But it seems like a great day to be in the space. So passing on good vibes to everybody, and we'll be back with further AMA. So definitely stay glued to the Neo Tokyo Twitter where we air that all out. Unless, of course, you're inside NT, then hit that event page because that's got all that good info. And definitely check out all of Carv's socials, their Discord, their website, all the different protocols. Go get those visuals, and hope everyone has a great rest of their day.
Thank you, guys. Shout out NT. Let's go, baby.